Greetings, you bad motherfuckers. It's Wednesday, the 3rd of March. The joint is brought to you by Zip Recruiter. Listen, good help is hard to find. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job online or at the corkboard down at the fucking coffee shop, but then you gotta sit there and hope the right person walks by and sees it. Well, stop dreaming. Go to ZipRecruiter for free right now at ziprecruiter.com/Joey. They do all the work for you. One click and your job gets sent to over 100 top job sites. And here's where it gets freaky. Their matching technology hooks you up with the people, with the skills and experience that you need. And right now, you could try ZipRecruiter for free. Joey, what are you talking about? Free at ziprecruiter.com/Joey. That's ziprecruiter.com/Joey. Joey, why do I need ZipRecruiter? Because ZipRecruiter is so effective that 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Listen, this is your business. You got no time to be looking at resumes and interviewing goofy people. Go to ZipRecruiter right now for free. Give it a spin. Go to ziprecruiter.com/Joey. ZipRecruiter.com/Joey. Try it for free just by going to ZipRecruiter.com/Joey. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. The joint is also brought to you by CBD Lion. Let me tell you something. They proved to me over the surgery the strength that CBD Lion has. You don't know how many nights I was sore and I would go in my bathtub and throw in one of the bath balls. Who the hell has CBD bath balls? CBD Lion does. Again, I would come out of the bath. What would I rub on my leg? The cream, the 1,000 milligram cream. Boom, on my leg. Then, before I fucking put my pajamas on at night, I put the CBD kinesiology tape on my knee. Everything's all settled. I go downstairs, I put ice on it. Do you get where I'm going with this? CBD Lion was 3/4 of my recovery. Let me explain something to you. I'm done with the pain pills. 6 weeks, whatever, I'm done. I threw 13 of the Oxycontins away, and the Vicodins are in the drawer. If you want one, come over. I'll give it to you. But you don't need it. CBD Lion's got you covered. Go to cbdlion.com. Read up on CBD, CBN, CBY, and the benefits and how it could help you with whatever problem that might be bothering you. I'm not saying that it's the end-all, be-all, but let me tell you something. It's tremendous. Go to cbdlion.com right now and press in Church or Joey and get 20% off of cbdlion.com delivered right to your house. No bullshit. No guy at the liquor store, some fucking mutt with a fucking hat on trying to sell you a CBD. Go to CBD Lion. Read. This is the help that you've been needing for a long time. You didn't know where to start. So go to cbdlion.com right now, press in Church or Joey, and get this party started. And now we're going to get our party started. You understand me? Let's light a little candle here for the Espíritus Malos, and let's get this show on the road.
Hey, how you doing? Come on in. Yeah, Joey's in the back.
Check 1, 2. Welcome to Uncle Joey's Joint.
What's happening, you bad motherfuckers? It's Wednesday, the 3rd of March. Can you fucking believe it's the 3rd of March already? Where the fuck did the year go? Thank you very much for watching the Doug Stanhope podcast and enjoying it. Listen, I've said it 1,000 times. People reach out to me all the time and they're like, listen, do you want to Zoom? And I'm like, I really don't know you. So the relationship, when you Zoom and you don't know a person, it's very rough. I Zoom with Ryan Sickler. I'll Zoom with Lee. I'll Zoom with Doug Stanhope. But it's very tough to Zoom with people you're not tight with or you don't have a relationship with. That gap. Zoom has already kind of has like a fucking gap. I watched the first 15 minutes of it. Listen, I hate watching myself. I watched 2 minutes of it just to see the lighting and everything, how it looks. But I watched that fucking podcast for a little while. And what I felt from that podcast was love. A lot of love between two guys that had been around. I had, Stanhope left in 2005, like he said on the podcast. And I hadn't really seen him. And in a way, he was kind of like my rock. And, things spun out of control for me. I mean, we went out both directions. And as soon as I landed here, since the minute I landed in New Jersey, I've been asking myself, what happened? I've been backtracing the steps of what happened, And Doug Stanhope's name has been on my mind every fucking day for the last 3 months. Like, he's just one of the guys that really helped me, and I never really got a chance to thank him. And I wanted to thank him, and that's what that podcast was. The reason I'm here is because of him, because he convinced me to move to Los Angeles. And not only that, when I got to Los Angeles, he was my friend. And he treated me with the utmost respect. And, that's just to let you guys know how fucked up I was. Listen, I'm not making no excuses. I never make excuses to you people. I love you too much. Snorting coke and eating the German girl's pussy. Snorting heroin and eating the German girl's pussy. Did I ever tell you that story? I didn't even fucking remember it. That's how fucked up I was. That just goes to show you how fucked up I was. This girl was a knockout. And once a week, every 2 weeks, I would see her at the corner store and we would talk. And she'd go, I just picked up a bag. And I'd walk down to her house. I'd do a little fucking line. She was beautiful, thin. And she would play with herself and let me eat a pussy. That was it. She wouldn't let me fuck her. She didn't want no dick in her. She had her reasoning, whatever. But how crazy is that? I would go over there, do a line of heroin. And then she'd take off her panties. I'd eat her pussy. She'd come. And then we'd talk for 10 minutes and I'd leave. And then I wouldn't see her for 2 weeks. This was my life. And I got no excuses. I was fucked up. If I can't remember that just goes to show you. A couple months ago, somebody reached out and said they were a little bit uncomfortable with me, that I had hit on them 20 years ago, over 20 years ago. And that they were uncomfortable with me. Well, they went to Ari, and Ari explained to them, did he take his dick out? And they said, no. He just hit on me, and then we kept snorting coke, and I drove him home. And he goes, well, what's the problem? What was the problem? I always felt uncomfortable after that. Well, you never said it before. I didn't even know what the fuck I was talking about. I lost my train of thought.
The girl that went to Ari.
Yeah, but the point that I was trying to make was what I fucking forgot. What difference does it make? It was 22 fucking years ago. Did he take his dick out or anything? He goes, Diaz was on fucking coke and fucking coked up and heroined up. And I said, Ari, that's no excuse. That's never an excuse. Just because I was on coke or heroin, I never laid that excuse on people. My actions were done by me. I could sit here and tell you I kidnapped Ken Vella because the dentist put me out that morning. I didn't do that. Did I? Did I say that? Have I ever said that? I had my teeth done the morning I kidnapped that kid, and they put me under with gas. So everybody told me that you could use it as a defense.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it affected how I thought. But that's a fucking excuse for a punk. That's an excuse a punk makes, Listen, I'm a punk. I was a punk back then, and I was fucking out of my mind. But that just goes to show you guys the power of the pen, the love I had for comedy, and the effect that my wife had on me. Because, guys, I remember snorting. Listen, when I talked to you guys about heroin, I told you that I did it when I was 17 with Gunter Brown. And then I revisited it again when I was in prison. I didn't know what I was doing. I snorted it. It was brown heroin tar, and they put it in my nose with like a thing that you put under your tongue, like one of that. Nothing happened. Then one time I think I snorted like a powder and heroin or something, and I got sick. I was never a big heroin guy. Then in 2007 was when Bonehead, the legend of Bonehead, was sending me little $3 bags from Newark, and I was doing them on Monday. But I forgot all about, I never shot heroin, nothing like that. But I forgot all about that I used to, that was a complete different time. 97 to 2000 for me was such a fucking blur because I had just landed in L.A. I was hanging out with Doug, Josh Wolf. Doug was way above us at that time. Doug was our mentor, We'd walk into a place with Doug like, fuck you, bitch, we're with Doug Stanhope, you know what I'm saying? So Doug mentored me. Doug took me under his fucking wing. Doug told me what to say. Doug was the one that told me that joke that Joe Rogan loves, beat a tranny. If you beat a tranny, who they gonna call? Who they gonna believe? Me or a dude with a wig and a black eye? You know what I'm saying? That was with Doug Stanhope. Doug Stanhope said, that's a bit, write that. Because somebody said something about a tranny on the block or something, and they were like, what, you gonna hit a tranny? I'm like, who they gonna believe? Me or some dude with a wig and a black eye? And that stuck, and Joe Rogan loved it, Doug loved it, but those were my influences, man. The day that I really reached out to Doug was the day about the Sierra Bonita shooting, when they shot Lady Gaga's dog walker. Listen, it's a giggle, whatever.
Did they die?
No, the kid didn't die. He's alive and kicking. He just wrote in the Instagram, and the dogs were recovered. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. But let me tell you something. Sierra Bonita was our neighborhood. Sierra Bonita is a street. And it was Sierra Bonita, Curson, Vista, and Gardner, and everybody lived on those streets. And Sierra Bonita was Mitch Hedberg and Nick DiPaolo. I said there's 1,000 fucking times. And that was just such a great neighborhood. I would see Steve-O going into there was on Curson, on the corner of Curson, there's a 7-Eleven, and right across the street there's a liquor store. It's perfect. I used to see Steve-O, I'm talking about 98, 2000. I was getting fucked up, and I would see him going to the liquor store, walking out with a case of beer, and then going to 7-Eleven and getting 2 cartons of smokes. When you see somebody getting 2 cartons of smoke, they're going into the deep underworld. Deep fucking underworld. 2 cartons of smokes. Jesus Christ. I would go home with 2 packs of cigarettes or something. 2 cartons of cigarettes? You're not going out for a few fucking days. So it was just when that thing happened on Sierra Bonita, it didn't happen on Sunset. It happened maybe a block up north, maybe a block and a half up north towards Hollywood Boulevard. That hit home with me. And it made me think about Ralphie and Mitch and fucking, Doug and just, that story about, oh my God, about the fucking, the night at the Coach and Horses. Coach and Horses was a dive bar that was cooler than fuck. I saw some wild shit in there. And I used to go in there when I was fucked up. And when I first got to L.A., I didn't have a car. And Doug lent me a car one day to go get an audition. I had an audition. And I had to go to downtown L.A. This is like the freakiest fucking story. Like when I lived with Doug, the weirdest shit happened, all right? I'm living with Doug, and I go, Doug, I got to borrow your car. Doug didn't wake up till 12. I woke up at 9. I needed a day job, so I was going to go look for a telemarketing job. I told Doug the night before, I'm going to borrow your car. It's a Friday morning. Check it out. Check out the computer, whatever. It's a Friday morning. It either had to be January of 97 or February of 97. I don't know if you could look up the date. It was a North Hollywood shooting when the guy was walking down the streets with the body armor and shit. That's the day I woke up, got in Doug's car at 8:45 to do an interview at 9. And I got to the 101. I'll never forget this. As I was entering the 101.
February 28th.
Who the fuck do you think you're dealing with? Because I got to L.A. January, I don't know, 29th or something like that. I got made a regular February 19th, and I was living with Doug till about March or April. And I still remember leaving Doug's house and getting to the 101 and my pager going off. And when I went to pull over to call, it was the job telling me not to come up, that there's a mass shooting in North Hollywood by the offices. It turned out years later, I lived in that neighborhood. They showed me where all the bullets and all this shit was going.
2,000 rounds.
Oh, no, it was insane. The 101 was backed up. So if I would have got on the 101, I would have ran out of gas. Because in those days, E meant enough for me. Yeah. E meant enough. You know what I'm saying? Whenever it was on E, it's like, enough. It's enough. Don't worry about nothing. At least till the red light comes on. We got nothing but fucking hope and dreams. Worst case scenario, I'll piss in a gas tank. But I'll never forget going up Highland, pulling over, and them calling, going, don't come up here because they're shooting all bullets. And me going, okay. And I fucking turned around and went home. And then like the following week, at this point, I wasn't living with Doug anymore. It had to be like a month or two later. I had moved out of Doug's, but I still borrowed his car. He lends me his car to go to an audition for an ABC show. Guys, I was as green as fuck. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I go to this audition. I walk in, I see Rudy Moreno, old comic friend of mine, brilliant guy. Used to run the Brave Bull comedy. He gives me a big hug. I'm in L.A., at this point, maybe 4 or 5 months. I'm a regular at the store. I'm fucking out there banging it out. And on the way back under the 5 by Dodger Stadium, I get a flat by Silver Lake. It's called Silver Lake, and I end up on Silver Lake Boulevard, and I go, I know one person who lives on here, this chick Marilyn Martinez, right? So I call Marilyn Martinez up, rest in peace, one of my dear, dear friends. Doug loved her too because she was crazy. She loved Doug. They loved each other. They were both dirty, and they would follow each other at the store and shit. And I called Marilyn. It's the only person I knew. And I go, Marilyn, I got a fucking flat. I don't even know where to start. It's not my car. I'm embarrassed. It's Doug's car. She goes, don't worry about nothing. Where are you? I go, I'm at some park. This is craziness, guys, okay? I'm at some park. Leimert Park, one of those fucking parks. It wasn't downtown L.A. I'm lying to you. It's in Silver Lake, and it was around there. There's a big park behind Silver Lake. If anybody remembers it, well, they just tweet me and let me know to refresh my memory. Again, look up at this date. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what the date is. Maybe, let's go with May of 97, okay? So it's May of 97. I call Marilyn. I go, Marilyn, I don't know what to do. I'm stuck. I'm by this fucking park. And I'm pulled over. She goes, don't worry. Where are you? I told her I'm by the park. There's a statue. There's a water fountain going up in Silver Lake or whatever it's called. She goes, my husband, Dave, is going to go pick you up. I had never met a husband. He's a black dude. He was a fucking Crip, bad motherfucker. Years later, I ended up bringing him to the set of the longest yard and telling them that he was my probation officer, and fucking him and Burt Reynolds were talking for hours and shit. But I take this motherfucker. Dave Crowder comes, but he comes with a white-looking dude. And David says to me, this is my brother-in-law. He's Cuban, just like you. He just got out of prison 3 days ago. Hey, man, what's happening? Hey, okay, hola, ¿qué está pasando? I hug him and shit, bendición, the whole fucking deal. And we start talking. He takes me to this Mexican place that sells tires for like $10, and they put them on for you, no drama. Just a nice tire, nothing spectacular. $10, $15, $10 to just put it on. And he puts it on, and then they go, what do you want to do? And I go, I don't know, whatever you guys want to do. And we went to like, did I tell this story? We went and got Cuban food. But before this whole thing happens, I'm waiting for them at the park, right? I'm minding my own business. You can't write this. This is why you cannot write Joey Diaz's fucking life story, because there's too much shit. I'm sitting at this park. It's a nice day out. I don't know, 70, 60 degrees. I'm minding my business. I don't know nobody. I'm waiting for Dave. And all of a sudden, I see a car, you know, and he's like, driving erratically, right? So he comes around the thing, and then I hear a helicopter. And then I see fucking 4 cop cars, it had to be, right? I'm sitting here minding my own fucking business. It's a beautiful day to be alive. Birds are chirping, you know, the whole fucking deal. What the fuck do you think happens next, G? The car pulls around. The guy that they were chasing, this motherfucker pulls around, gets out of the car, right? Gets out of the car, gets behind his, opens up his door. I'm watching all this. It's 500 yards from me, maybe. I'm 33, 34, 97. So I had way better eyesight, you know. And it was like that scene in The Godfather 2 when she goes to visit the Godfather and she tells him, my son's retarded, don't kill him, you know, spare his life. And then she has a knife and he blows her away with a gun. Yeah. Dog, that's exactly what I saw live and in color. I don't think I've ever said this on a fucking podcast.
Holy shit.
So I see this motherfucker. He is driving, right? And all of a sudden he just goes, and he turns the car around, does a full 360, pops his fucking passenger door open, gets out of the car, and starts shooting at the cops. I'm watching all this. The helicopter's above. I'm like, oh my fucking God.
Like sinking in your seat,
like, no, I wasn't in the car. I was sitting on the hood. Why am I sitting in a hot car for? I want to see it. I want to get some vitamin D. And all of a sudden, the guy's like, bah, bah, bah. And he looks like this, and I see him run across. Like he had like maybe a 30-yard run to the thing where he pulls over, and he starts shooting at him. And a cop just fucking wasted him with like a fucking pump gun, some type of shotgun, just boom. And the guy was like, and they caught him as he was going to go, and he just took him, and he went like maybe 4 feet. He landed. I was like, the helicopter came down even lower to make sure he was dead, and the cops fucking rushed in. And that's when fucking David and my friend came, and I go, you just fucking missed it. The cops just shot a dude right there. I mean, and dog, listen, if the cops want to interview me now about it years later, the cops were solid on this call. I saw the whole fucking thing. I saw the guy do the 360, get out of his car and get behind the passenger door. He fucking kept the glass up and he shot through the glass. That's how it started hearing it. But I saw the whole thing go down. Boom, boom, boom. He shot maybe 4 times. He reacted, they were shooting at him, and then he shot like to go into an alley, but while he was shooting, he was like, you know, like in the movies, and bro, they were shooting handguns at him, but at one point, some guy just fucking got him right in the fucking chest, and he went back. I just saw the explosion, and that was it, dog. So he takes me over, we fucking get the tire fixed, and then we go to Silver Lake and we eat at some Cuban joint like this called Chinito. And he takes me to a Cuban bakery, the whole fucking thing. And you know me.
So you're sitting there 500 yards or whatever
from this shooting.
And they didn't say anything to you.
The cops?
Yeah.
Not a word.
They didn't even look at you or anything?
Not a word. Didn't even.
God. Were you like the only one around?
There was some people at a park, you know, there was some kids playing. It was a big park with a fountain in the middle.
Holy shit.
Like a fountain towards 3/4 side, not really in the middle. It happened on the other side of the park, and I was over here. So it was a good far distance. There were people there. No investigator came up to me and asked me. By the time they got there, we just basically took the tire off the car and drove it to the Mexican place. And then we came back and put the tire on. And that's when they were still tagging the body. They had the cones around. They had the whole fucking thing. They just shot this motherfucker with a shotgun. Whoa. Boom. So we're talking. Bop, 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 bop. It's about 6 o'clock now. And I don't know how it gets mentioned. He says he's got cocaine for sale. I go, Jesus Christ. You told the right person because I'm in the market. I'm looking. So he goes, I'll have it at 8 o'clock or something. You know, you have to come back to Silver Lake. So I went. I gave Doug back his car. And I think I borrowed Josh Wolf's car. And I went up to this Cuban's house. And he sold me an 8-ball of some shit that I could smell it when I walked into the apartment. Like, this guy was not fucking around. He was 3 days out of prison, and he had already met the dude, and he was slinging. So he gave me a nice price. I think I got an 8-ball. Let me tell you something. I had no comedy that night. I'll never forget. I had no comedy that night. So I started early. You know, that was it was like a Tuesday. Mitzi didn't give me a spot or something. I was just fucking around, bro. Now, my tolerance for cocaine at this time was pretty high. I was 10 years away from quitting, but my tolerance was pretty fucking high. You know, I could do a gram and not blink an eye in those days. Like 2 lines and just sit there for an hour and not say nothing or talk. Because I was chatty Cathy when I did coke. Let me tell you something. I'll never forget driving back from Silver Lake with that 8-ball, getting into Hollywood, and going by Josh Wolf's house and doing like 2 or 3 lines with him. He was going to do something, and me doing like fucking 8 lines. And I mean, when I tell you I walked into the Coach and Horses, I didn't say a word. David Fulton tweeted today, "Thank you for mentioning us," and whatever. I still remember Joey filled with Peruvian glue, and his mouth was shut. I mean, I couldn't even fucking talk. That is no lie. My mouth was fucking shut. I remember them talking to me. I couldn't sweat. I couldn't do anything. I still remember what I did that night. This is how disgusting and creepy I was. I fucking got so hammered at that Coach and Horses. By 11:30, I was so coked up. And every time I looked in the bag, there was still tons of coke left. I'm like, dog, this is going to be a long fucking night. So I stayed there as long as I could before I started getting creepier and creepier. Because I'm a creepy fucking guy as it is. Never mind putting cocaine in me. The creepiness really comes the fuck out. And I'll never forget, I had this car, and I went across the street. I bought a fucking 2 6-packs. And I went in this car. It had a moonroof. And I fucking pushed the seat all the way back. And I was staying on Vista, like 4 carloads up from Josh Wolf under a tree. That's when I lived in that car. You ever hear the car I lived in? That got my apartment got towed. That's when I had that car, and I'll never forget that. I went back to that car, and I would drink, do lines. I couldn't talk. I didn't want anybody to see me. There was a blanket in the trunk, and I left this because I would live in the car from time to time. You know, it was my travel car to go on the road. I would put the seat back, put the blanket over me, and right in the driver's seat. I would try to jerk off from the coke, and I couldn't jerk off because my dick would shrink. It was a fucking nightmare. That was one of the worst cocaine nights of my life. That coke was so fucking tremendous. I'm telling you, I couldn't talk. And I still remember it was me, Doug, David Fulton, his buddy that he always hangs out with, Josh Wolf. I think it was like Tana Manu. There was like 8 of us running. Not everybody was doing coke. Like those guys don't do coke. Fulton or Stanhope. I was the only coke fiend. But I was so fucked up. I will never, ever forget how embarrassing I was that night. Couldn't even talk. Couldn't even say a fucking word. And usually, I have a friend. He does coke. He never talks, but he does coke. And he doesn't talk because he stutters. But when he does coke, he doesn't stutter. It's the weirdest thing. He does too. That's how I know he's doing coke. When he calls me, he's like Pavarotti. Oh, solo mio. When he's not doing coke, it's like da. How you doing? What do you mean? He sounds like Lee's cousin. Yeah, but when he's fucking doing coke, oh, he's straight as an arrow. He's singing Kenny Rogers songs and shit like that. So yeah, it was It was just two guys seeing each other that hadn't seen each other in a long time. And I was very happy. I was very happy for the memories. I'm happy that you guys got to hear the memories that we shared with Ralphie and his mother. God rest her soul. She had old breasts.
Old
Like
breasts?
Mrs. Stanhope had breast implants like in 1950. They were made from wood, like her tits were hard. And she would ask you from time to time, feel them if you want. And you're like, Miss Stanhope, how long? I mean, guys, it was a great. Listen, it was a lot different than what it became. Things weren't so serious. You know, he said it himself. Mitch Hedberg wrote the joke when we used to play tennis down at Gorky Park, because it was a Russian park, so they would call it Gorky Park. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were down there 3-4 nights a fucking weekday playing tennis. You know, comedy was fun. I didn't know what I was doing. I was a young kid. I was Lee. I was basically a Lee hanging out with Doug Stanhope, Mitch Hedberg, and hanging out at the comedy fucking club and learning from those guys. It was just the ultimate. I mean, when I saw Doug Stanhope, like I had met Doug in 91 or 92, and then we worked together in 93. Then he won San Francisco. Doug came back to Seattle in 96 and did a weekend. And this is what changed Joe Diaz. You know, we do the album of the week, and I show you about my influences. You know, the people who influenced me with music, whether I do the album of the week on Patreon, so I'm sorry if a lot of guys don't see it. When I do the album of the week, it's not from, I don't go on Rolling Stone, I don't go on fucking whatever and look at what albums are popular. I'm telling you what created my musical taste when I throw different albums at you. You know, what's this week? Elton John. You know, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. You know, last week was Volume 4. You know, every week I throw a different album at you. But you know, what is the comparison between Elton John and Doug Stanhope and Black Sabbath? There's no connection. There's no Elton John doing Black Sabbath. You never seen Sabbath covering fucking, you know, hello, baby, hello, wow, wow. No, you don't see that shit happening. That's as far as a genre as you could see the difference. I had to do the same thing with comedy, because that's how you learn to be a good comic. You know, I'm a dirty comic, but I'm a big fan of John Mulaney's. You know, because he works clean. I think it'd take, you know, I hope he's doing well. He was in a rehab. I hope he's out and he's handling his fucking business like a man. Most people were goofing on him because he had the courage to go to a fucking rehab. People just have no fucking respect for anybody anymore these days. But Doug Stanhope was one of those guys that I looked at that June. I remember we were going to go see Alanis Morissette that Saturday. $65 tickets. I was furious. My girlfriend at the time. But that Friday night, I went to see Doug Stanhope, and I laughed so hard, it made me depressed, because I knew I would never be as good as a comic as Doug Stanhope. He was on a different fucking level in 96. In my world right now, in my eyes, I'm a huge fan of Bill Burr. I think Bill Burr is God. I think when I think of what a stand-up is, I think immediately to Bill Burr. And then we have different styles. We have Joe Rogan has a different style. I have more of a storytelling style. Theo's a storytelling style. But the true Lenny Bruce of our generation is not Dave Chappelle. It's not Joe Rogan. It's none of those guys. It's not. And I'm not saying that they're bad comics. They're great comics. They influenced me. They fucking, you know, Dave Chappelle, I watch everything. Patrice O'Neill, all these guys are great comics. But for me, the real Lenny Bruce of my career was Doug Stanhope. Because while everybody else tried not to be Hollywood, he wasn't Hollywood. All those other comics will tell you, they're not Hollywood. They're Hollywood. If you're telling me you're not Hollywood, it's because you're Hollywood. You don't have to tell me. We see it. We see it. Doug Stanhope told the industry to go fuck themselves. The biggest lesson that I learned from Doug Stanhope was you don't need nobody. If you work on your craft, I don't care if you do triple runs and nobody sees you. If you work on your craft, you disappear for 5 years, they're going to fucking know who the fuck you are, whether you like it or not. Doug Stanhope didn't give a fuck about TV. He didn't give a fuck about anything. In the height of comedy in 2005, he picked up his bags and moved to Bisbee, Arizona, and told the industry to suck his dick. That's what a real fucking comic does. Do you understand me? We go against him. You know, him and Sean Rouse did a fucking show. Sean Rouse, God rest his soul, funny motherfucker. And I guess Doug Stanhope went up there and made fun of the owner's son, and he banned them from all the funny bones and improvs. Did you think that stopped Doug Stanhope? Bitch, he went and got bars all across the street from those clubs and sold them out. Now he can play whatever improv he wants or funny bone he wants to, because he fucking shut him the fuck down. That's what a real comic does. We don't play into their fucking hands. We're running the fucking game, bitch. And he's proven it all along. He went to Bisbee while everybody else was fighting. Do you think the Comedy Store was great? But if Stanhope was there during this whole thing, it would have been the fucking cherry on the fucking sundae. It would have been a club that the wrath of that club would have been, it would have been just too much. He would have really added, because his style of comedy is very unique, very funny, very intelligent. It comes off from some far out fucking places, you know, and it's not just that, it's his lifestyle. You know, you heard him. He bought a car from a friend of mine. He used my friend's fucking address for his license and a fucking ad. You know, this guy was just living a life that most people dream about living. They're not controlled by anybody. You can't tell Doug Stanhope not to do a joke. Neither can me. You know, we're fucking savages. We're cut from the same cloth. I learned as much from him as I did from Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan had the more professional style. That's why Joe Rogan made the $100 million and did the other stuff. Doug was more of a purist. Doug won't do it for the money. Doug doesn't give a fuck about the money. It's like me. I don't give a fuck about stand-up money. I love, you don't get paid for stand-up. You get paid for the bullshit that comes along with it. The flights and the fucking waiting and the get to your hotel after you haven't slept and the room isn't ready, and, you know, people coming up to you afterwards with bad breath and talking to you about episode 629 and how you were wrong about the fucking whatever. You know, there's always fucking something. So what I'm trying to say to you is, you know, Stanhope was a genius, and I'm happy I had him on the show. And I'm happy you fucking guys enjoyed him, because I've been different since I talked to him. You know, I've had a hard time here the last 6 months. The last 5, we've done the podcast, and Mike has helped me tremendously to push through whatever anxiety and fears and whatever the fuck I was going through. I mean, it's rough. I'm just a fucking dad now in suburbia. I live in fucking suburbia. I'm a suburban fucking dad living in the sticks, loving it, you know, just loving it. Today I got up, I went to the gym, I talked to the girl I'm writing the book with, my partner. We did a half hour, 45 minutes on the phone. That's coming along just fine. But I do have a little sadness in my heart today I want to talk to you about. It's been a year today, officially, since I've been at the Comedy Store. It's been a year since I've been on the main room stage. It's been a year since I've been in the original room, because I did both shows that night. It's been a year since I hugged Ali Wong tonight, March 3rd. Tonight was the last night I went down there. I walked in. People were talking about social distancing. I guess nobody at the Comedy Store got the memo. And, yeah, nobody at the store had gotten the memo. There was no fucking nothing. I remember walking into that Comedy Store on a Tuesday night, and it was mobbed. And I just got back from Vegas, and I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? And I just wasn't feeling it. I went into the bar. The bar was packed. It wasn't until I went into the main room and I went into the green room and I saw they had no windows. My anxiety shot up. I went by the door. I got some oxygen. And I remember trying to sneak out of there as fast as possible, seeing Allie, giving her a hug, telling her she looked beautiful, and I just walked out and got in my car and never went back. I didn't know that night that was going to be my last night there. I'm not going to tell you I did. I knew it was over when they told me a week later they closed the store. That's when I had a feeling I wouldn't be up there. Once I made the commitment to come to the store, I went to the store on a Sunday with my family, and I put my hand against the wall and I thanked it. I thanked the spirits. I thanked the wall. I thanked the building. I sat on the stairs. You know, I'll post I think I got the pictures in here. I'll post one of them on Patreon, but and on Twitter for you if you'd like, for you guys. But yeah, I took pictures of of my last day at the store. I went on a Sunday and I just walked around. I walked around the whole building. I went all the way to the back, you know, where Jeff Scott used to sit, and I fucking sat back there for a minute. And then I walked around to the back door and I sat on those steps. How many nights did I sit on those steps talking to great fucking minds, from Joe Rogan to Eddie Griffin to Paul Mooney to I don't know how many nights I sat there talking to Andrew Dice Clay, him giving me advice, you know, Sebastian. We were just young fucking knuckleheads getting advice from a fucking elderly, you know, Andrew Dice Clay. I just cannot tell you, you know. So that podcast Monday was great because it settled me down. I got to see one of my old buddies, and I think we're going to do this once a month. Me and Stanhope, just once a month, fucking around and telling stories, telling crazy road stories. I went on the road with him a couple times. We'll save those. I didn't even go into those. I went on the road with him maybe twice, once to Harvey's in Portland and once to a club in Wisconsin, I think. I think I canceled him on that one. He was pissed at me. But when I brought him on, it was just to thank him for being my friend. How fucking lucky was I? How lucky was I, man, that God put Stanhope in my life. And then, like what I was trying to explain to you before, it just wasn't Stanhope. I had Rick Dukeman in my corner. Then Paul Mooney was in my corner. Then fucking Joe Rogan got in my corner. Then Ralphie May was in my corner. And it was like, you know, I'm getting mentored by... When I met Ralphie was a no-name, but he was already a headliner. I wasn't headlining when I met Ralphie. Ralphie could already do an hour 20. I wasn't even close to that shit. But those conversations with Ralphie and Doug, you know, we mentioned Celine Hinojosa, God rest her soul. She passed a few years ago. This chick was our friend. She went on Doug's show. Doug had a 13-episode deal with Fox, a hidden camera show. Did you ever know that? If you could ever find those, if anybody could find those online, get ready to laugh. It's just pranks. He was the best. And there's one particular when the limo driver has to give him a ride to the airport, and when the limo driver shows up, he goes, "We got a problem. My grandmother died. We got to drop her off at the hospital." You don't know how many limo drivers took off. There was one Arabian guy. He was like, "We'll do it." They taped grandma. They taped like it was a fake thing, and they put a blanket over her, and they put her on top of an SUV, and they duct taped her. This guy said, "For an extra $100, we'll do whatever you need to do." And they drove. Then they showed Doug going into a pizza parlor with a cat, with a dead cat in a box, like what looked like a dead cat. He's like, "Excuse me, I was finished. I was cooking this cat." And I fucking, I fucking, my oven blew. Do you mind putting this in your pizza and finishing the cat up? And the guy would open it up, and it's like a half a dead cat that was really fake. And the guy would throw Doug out. It was just, it was 13 episodes. If you could find it, find it. But yeah, today is a very, listen, I did so many things I didn't even have a chance to absorb it, if I was sad or not. But I am a little bit off. I lost my world today, a year ago today. I lost my world. I thought it was just going to be for a couple of weeks, and here we are a year later, and the Comedy Store still closed. My heart goes out to them. I don't know what they're going to do. You know, I'm not them. I don't have to pay those mortgages, or I don't have to pay all that stuff. So whatever they decide to do, they have my blessing, because I got what I needed out of them, and they got what they needed from me. And we were solid to each other. So this year has been very hard for me, you know. This move has been very hard for me. I know a lot of guys have watched me and said, you know, Joey, we could see kind of that something. Hey, I'm fighting something that I'm starting to accept now. I'm accepting my new role as a suburbia dad in the sticks, you know. I got the next 4 or 5 weeks at Uncle Vinny's starting tonight. I got a guest spot tonight. I'm excited about all this stuff, and, you know, I'm wishing for the best. You know, I don't know what's going to happen after March, but I will tell you what I read emails. You know, you guys know I read your emails and stuff like that. I got an email from a friend of mine, like a comic friend of mine. He goes, did you read this? Somebody had posted that the reason I didn't move to Austin, they didn't say nothing negative. They just said, we love Joey, but we know why he didn't move to Austin, because Joe wasn't going to let him on the podcast because of Spotify. Let me explain something to you. I wasn't going to Austin either way. I told you guys that in April, the week that they shut March 9th, March 10th, I was supposed to be here. March 11th, I was supposed to be at Poughkeepsie, I don't fucking know, Nyack. And then the next 3 days, I already had a realtor who was going to show me a few houses up north. Once the pandemic canceled. You know, I got a shot in my knee, and my knee swelled up, so I had to cancel Tuesday. I had to cancel fucking Wednesday, and by Wednesday they were already saying in Bergen County, Teaneck was spreading. And there was another part, Orchid Park or whatever. So that stopped me from coming to New York to purchase a home. When Joe Rogan called me and he goes, hey, I'm moving to Austin and I want to buy you a house, 10 out of 10 people would buy a fucking house, would let somebody buy them a house. I love Joe Rogan. I didn't need for him to buy me a house. I love him with all my heart. The offer's still on the table. I could call him to mom and say, I'm selling this fucking crib and I'm moving down. I'm sure the offer's still on the table. But if you think I didn't move down there because I couldn't get on the podcast, do you guys actually think I'm that shallow? Is that what you think of me, that I'm that shallow, that I wouldn't live down there because of a fucking podcast? I've been on the podcast 20 times, and as all of you guys know him, I destroyed them every time. You know, like Bon Jovi says, I've seen a million faces, and I rocked them all. How many times I go on that podcast and rock that bitch? I did my job. I don't need to go back on there no more. Him and I speak all the fucking time. We spoke last night. You know, we spoke 2 nights ago and last night. We had a pleasant conversation. I think he's going to buy something down there. It's not at my liberty to discuss what the fuck he's going to buy, but I'll be there. And I'm not even going to tell you who I'm going to do that podcast with. I'm going to surprise you motherfuckers. Next time I do the JRE podcast, I'm going on there with the king. You guys, your jaws are going to drop. New Jersey, your jaws are going to drop. Who I'm going to go on there with. I'm not going to tell you when. I'm not going to tell you who. I'm just going to, I want you to just see Joey Diaz and the name you're going to see next to it, and all your wigs are going to fucking fall off. So, but that's not happening till August or September. So don't get in a fucking pickle yet. But I'll be in Austin. Not anytime soon, but I'll be in Austin. I'll be down there visiting him, hanging out. I want to see Red Band. I spoke to Red Band the other night, and like I've always told people, the day I die, the guy that's going to cry the loudest is going to be Red Band, and he's going to be meaning it, because we definitely love each other. We were so excited to talk to each other. I talked to Chris D'Elia last week. He's doing great. I spoke to Ali Wong last week. She's doing great. You know, Doug Stanhope. I check in, man. Got to check in with these fucking savages. Theo Vaughn. One motherfucker I didn't talk to is Josh Wolf. I got to give that cocksucker a call. Fucking Jew is shooting a special. He forgets about his Uncle fucking Joey, these cocksuckers. But I got to talk to you guys about something before we wrap this up. Sunday, I'm in a good mood. I get stoned, you know. We don't have to do the podcast till Monday. I'm having a great time. The girls went to a friend of theirs from L.A. that moved here also. So I had a few hours to myself. You know, I'm smoking some bones. I think I went to the gym. I came back. So once I go to the gym, I rode the bike for 15, 20 minutes. I felt good. And I started fucking around on Periscope. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something, okay? So I start fucking around on Periscope, and guess what? Some guy starts calling me.
Calling your phone?
Yeah.
Just a regular call?
A 201 number, okay? Now, he keeps calling, then he keeps texting, He thinks it's cute. You know, he thinks it's really cute. Me, I laugh. I want you guys to all know something. The 323 number I have, everybody's got that one. You're my friends. I love you to death. It rings 100 times a day, and I'm not picking it up. I decided about 2 years ago that if I picked up every call I had every day, I wouldn't have time to do anything. I'm dead serious. There was a bunch of people who listened to the podcast. I gave, phone numbers to. You give them, they call you once, they call you every day. And it just gets out of control. And people, I have a daughter, I got to take her to events. I do things with wives. I'm at meetings. I'm getting calls from people that should not be calling me at 2 in the fucking afternoon. So about a year ago, way before a year ago, it was last March, before the pandemic, I got a new phone. It's a private phone. Even if you get a private investigator, you can't find it. As a matter of fact, as of today, only 16 people have that phone. 17 when I give it to Mikey next, because I'll give it to Mike. So it's people who matter to me that I can't miss their calls, because this phone has become such a fucking circus. So, you could call. Let me tell you something. That 323 number, if you find it, you could call it till your face turns green. Nobody's ever going to answer it. Nobody's ever going to answer it. I never expect you to answer it. And it's funny, if I actually find, if you leave a message and you're annoying, I actually save the contact. So when you call, I know not to fucking pick it up. So you could call that number, if you find it online, you could call it until your fingers turn blue. It's like the people who messenger me, like you missed a call. What would make you think I would pick up a messenger call? Listen to my background. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't know nothing. I don't want to know about nothing. I don't want to know about nothing. I know nothing. So why do you really think I'm going to pick up a fucking hot call that I don't know? That's never going to happen. You're going to have to leave a message, and you're not going to hear back from me.
Dude just kept interrupting you while you
on purpose. He thought he was fucking cute. Let me break his ball. Hey, it's something I would do too. Fucking I did it to Brody Stevens when he had his talk show. I would text him, so calm as a motherfucker. But just note for the other people who think it's cute and find my number and call, you could call 1,000 times. That thing will never pick up. In fact, there's days I don't even take that phone in the car with me. I put it in a fucking drawer, and I just come back and see who calls, and I'm like, I'm happy I don't have this phone on me. So I got a phone that you couldn't find the fucking number even if you were in the CIA. Think about how a person could have a number and you can't find it. What would I have to do? So think about it, knuckleheads. Don't fucking call me. Don't call me on that 323 number. You're in no danger. You could call it until you light yourself on fire. If you FaceTime me and you're on fire, I'll pick up the phone. If I see you're on fire, like on the thing, like, Joey, pick it up, I'm on fire, then I'll pick it up out of respect. But if you're not on fire, don't call my phone. And for you fucking knuckleheads who I answer the message on, it says you just missed a call on Messenger. Listen, I'm always going to miss the call on Messenger. Always. I don't even know where to pick up the phone on Messenger. What, does the computer have a phone on the side? You're supposed to fucking pick it up, whatever the fuck.
It's supposed to be for your phone. There's an app.
Yeah, no, I don't want to talk to nobody. Listen, the rule still stands. It stood with the church, and it stands with the joint. I don't know nothing. I don't want to know nothing. I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know nothing. I don't want to meet nobody. I don't want to see nobody. I don't want to go to dinner with nobody. I don't want to smoke with nobody. I don't want to do nothing. I'm fine. We say hello. We shake hands. We give each other a hug. You take a hike north, I'll go fucking south. I don't know nothing. These people that come and ask me questions, you're asking the wrong fucking guy. You're not going to get nothing out of me. I'm not a rat. I did time. Did I not do time? You're not going to get nothing out of me. So please, don't call, because you're in no danger. You got a better chance of getting a suicide hotline, especially today. That shit is fucking busy. People been calling suicide hotline all week. It's a bad fucking time of the year. It's a bad time of the year for people. So, but I'm happy we got to get to spend together this beautiful fucking Wednesday. I'm going to start off. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to call my man. I'm going to go on DraftKings. I got a game tonight, Chicago against New Orleans in motherfucking New Orleans. I think a friend of mine dropped a little dime on me and said to look at the game. The game's a little awkward. If you go on DraftKings, always use code Joey. And like I said, it's easy because I've been getting into it lately. I'm having a great time just doing little prop bets. I won Saturday, but I lost Sunday. It's $25. What do I give a fuck? We're just having a good fucking time here. That's it, and that's that for the fucking joint. Uncle Joey's joint. Facebook, I'm getting rid of you pretty soon, so expect to pull the plug on Facebook. It's going to go down to Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram. No more motherfucking Facebook and Patreon. That's it. And I'm going to do a Patreon, maybe one tier, and that's it. Give you as much content as I can. I'm starting a Spanish podcast called La Descarga on Patreon. Then I'm going to make it. Let me work on it on Patreon for 2 or 3 weeks or a month, and then I'll put it out because there's no categories for Spanish podcast on iTunes. So if anybody knows where I would post this, please contact Mike or myself. But it's a new podcast called La Descarga, and we're going to talk about some completely different things. All the episodes will be in Spanglish, 80% Spanish. So if you don't hablo, this ain't the show for you. But if you want to keep in touch with Uncle Joey, it might be a thought. It's first going to come on audio, and then we're going to do a video version of it at a studio right here close by. But besides that, I love you guys. Like I said, Now for a word from my sponsors, but I want to thank everybody who sponsors. But I want to thank our biggest sponsors, you motherfuckers, for being here on Mondays and Wednesdays with us. I love you, cocksuckers. Stay black, and don't tell them I didn't tell you. You know what I'm saying? Fuck them in the ear. I love you. Have a great weekend. See you Monday. Tip top fucking Magoo. All right, I want to thank all you cocksuckers for listening today, for watching on YouTube. You know I love you. I'm here swinging during the COVID, you know. Most people fucking gave up or they're depressed. I'm still over here fucking swinging. So I appreciate the people who still stuck it out with me, because it's only going to get fucking better from here on in. Anyway, the joint is brought to you by Zip Recruiter. Listen, Zip Recruiter is so effective that 4 out of 5 employers who post on Zip Recruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Listen, you know that good help is hard to find. It's like trying to find the fucking, you know, a diamond, you know, you're not going to find it. Sure, you can post your job online or at a corkboard down at the fucking cafe. You ever see the people that hang out at the coffee shop? You're going to hire them? You're going to trust them with your business? Or you can just sit there and hope the right person walks by and reads your Nah, stop dreaming. Go to ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/Joey. They do the work for you. One click and your job gets sent to over 100 of the top job sites. And here's where it gets fucking really freaky. Their matching technology hooks you up with people with the skills and experience that you're looking for and that you need. Get the quality candidates fast. Let them play matchmaker so you don't have to read through applications and sit there and, my mother started in Kentucky. Who gives a fuck? It's a needle in a haystack. They'll find it. In fact, ZipRecruiter is that effective that 4 out of 5 employees who post on there get the person they're looking for within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free, Joey. Free at ZipRecruiter.com/Joey. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Joey. Try it for free just by going to ZipRecruiter.com/Joey. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. We're also brought to you by CBD Lion. What else can I say? You want a vape? You want a gummy bear? You want kinesiology tape, bath ball, tincture? CBD Lion is one-stop shopping. What you need to do first, before we do anything, is go to CBDLion.com and read. Just read. Learn. You know, you're sitting there, you don't know what's been bothering you. You have an ailment, a pain, an ache, stress, anxiety. Go to CBD Lion. Read about CBD, CBN, CBY, about the benefits, how CBN cuts your legs. This is just, they are tremendous. I've learned so much. And now with the surgery, CBD Lion was there from A to Z. I mean, A to Z, proven. I used every of their products, from the gummy bear, the bath ball, the kinesiology tape, the tincture, the 5,000 milligram fucking tincture. Forget about it. It makes you feel brand new, even with the Oxycontins and all that garbage I had going through my body. So right now, today, go to CBDLion.com right now. I want to thank CBD Lion. I want to thank Zip Recruiter. I want to thank Onnit. I want to thank, who else did we have this week? We had somebody else that was tremendous. Movement Watches. I want to thank Relief Band. Look, I got my little Relief Band on for my nausea. And tonight there's a great game. Listen to me. I'm not going to tell you where I heard it. But the line on Chicago at New Orleans is kind of kinky. Go to DraftKings. Give them a look. What else you doing with your time? You might as well. It's March fucking mania. You know what I'm saying? Check out DraftKings. Put a little bet in. What do you give a fuck? $25 to watch a game. They got a bunch of little contests. You're bored. You can control it. Stop being a fucking jerk off and fucking go to DraftKings. You know I love you, cocksuckers. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you Monday morning. Tip top fucking Magoo. There you go. Arranca pa' casa, coño tu madre.